In 1963, Father Beelner came to State Center as his first parish, and he had a mission parish at Rhodes. This was his first, and he was the most enthusiastic priest I'd ever seen. He just ran all the time instead of walking. I jokingly accused him of running for Pope. One day he came in the farm and he looked sick. I visited with him a while and asked him what was the matter. He said, "I just bleed all the time and the doctors don't know what's the trouble." I told him he should go to Iowa City for a checkup. I didn't see him for quite a while. He was feeling worse and finally went through the clinic in Iowa City. I had my first bacon bin built at that time, and all was loaded out, a truckload of hogs each Monday morning. Brian and the hired man were gone that Monday, so the trucker and I loaded the hogs. When I came out of the hog house, somebody yelled at me and said, "What are you going to do with all that money?" I thought, I've got a neighbor who thinks raising hogs is all profit, so I'd better turn around and console him. I looked around and there wasn't anybody there. Then I realized that didn't come in my ear, it came in my heart. So I said, "Okay, I'll just answer you. I owe $1,000 at the bank and the rest will go for expenses." The voice came right back and said, "What are you going to do with the next load and the next load?" And I said, "I don't know." Since I had just loaded out the hogs and it was getting close to 10 o'clock, Dorothy always had coffee and rolls about that time for our coffee break. I went to the house and started to clean up, since hogs have a way of getting even with you when you load them out. And there was Father Beelner. I asked him if he had been to Iowa City, and he said he had. I said, "Did they have an answer for you?" And he said they told him that he had cancer of the bladder. I asked if there was any cure for it, and he said there wasn't any at all. I asked him how much time he had. He shrugged his shoulders and started walking away. And then he turned around and said, "Who knows?" He said, "Probably they talk like about 8 months." I got mad at the Lord again and said to myself, "You're always asking for workers for your harvest. This guy's ready to go. He's young, he's trained, and he has all this energy. Why don't you take him and why don't you leave him and take some old dumb farmer like me here?" But the Lord had a better idea, as he usually does. I said, "Father, you believe in the Lady of Guadelupe and have always had a special devotion to Our Lady. Dorothy made the veils and helped decorate the altars for feast days of the Blessed Virgin. You believe in her, so why don't you go down there to the shrine in Mexico City and spend a week and retreat?" He said he didn't have the money. I told Dorothy to get on the phone and make reservations for him to go to Mexico City. He said he couldn't go for several weeks, but I told him, "I want you to promise me that you'll get there before it's too late." We got the tickets for 2 housekeepers and sent them with him, Leona Lechtenberg and her sister. By that time, he needed help, as he was only had only about 5 months to live. According to the doctor at Iowa City, they had told him there was no cure, absolutely nothing that could be done. He went down Monday and returned Friday, a well man. He was saying Mass beneath the picture of the Lady of Guadelupe, and all of a sudden a warm feeling came over him. It startled him. He looked up and saw many Mexicans coming up to the altar on their knees on a cobblestone aisle. He went back to the hotel and tried to put it on a tape, the feelings that he had come over him, but he wasn't able to do it. I listened to the tape and he just couldn't tell it. He never was able to tell people about what had happened to him, and always seemed strange to me. But if you'll remember, the Lord many times told those he had healed not to tell anyone about it. A week or so later, he went back to Iowa City, and the doctors couldn't believe that he didn't have any new lesions. About every 30 days, they would check him again, and that was real painful. But they never found any recurrence of the cancer. After about 18 months, they agreed he was well. That year, I sent Father Beelner, Father Swartz, and Brian to the shrine of the Lady of Guadalupe to tell her thanks for his healing. Shortly after that, Father Beelner moved to Ryan. I have probably told 1,000 people about his healing. He lived for 22 years after that, a healthy man, but never quit smoking or stopped drinking. He had a big bar in the rectory and always open to everyone who came there. He was raised thinking liquor was a part of being hospitable, and he used it in that way.